And welcome back to the Shit Behind the Show. So this week I have been discussing how to be successful in a relationship and what some of the reasons are for it to feel like it's so difficult to have a successful relationship or to navigate the healthy, quote unquote, healthy. To me, I like to think of healthy more of honest, because everyone's definition of healthy relationship can be very different. In my eyes, in my opinion, a healthy relationship is two people that have done their work on their own separately and are whole separately and then come together and add. Also, with that, with self-love comes the ability to set boundaries, to respect boundaries, and to be very honest with your partner, both being honest and not in an offensive way, but also be honest and don't get defensive. It sounds a lot more complicating than it really is, actually. So we discussed on the last show that part of what makes it so difficult is we've got these beliefs. We've got true beliefs and false beliefs. And false beliefs come from what we are conditioned to from our past, whether it be childhood or past relationships, which is most likely, right? Or just anything in life that has kind of turned you upside down, flipped you around, and added to your emotional backpack. Congratulations, you're human. Me, myself, I have a lot in my emotional backpack. I have carried a lot, and I have also released a lot, especially in the last 7 years, and I'm still working. I'm very aware of my triggers. I'm very aware of everything that's in my emotional backpack. September is a really hard month for me. I have already found myself feeling unregulated and a little bit stressed out, and all it is past trauma creeping in, because September is the month that the majority of the traumas in my life occurred. It's really crazy. I used to dread September, and I think I manifested it, honestly, because for many years, there was just this bad shit that would occur in mostly relationships. Not always, but most of it was in September, like the really traumatic stuff. And I reconditioned my thinking to believe that that's in the past, that's not future, it's not going to happen again, and we're not going to go there. But again, you do feel your nervous system like feeling dysregulated and a little on edge, just because subconsciously my body's remembering, okay, it's September, we're going to go crazy. That being said, today's been kind of a shit day. It happens. Holy cow, I had another one of those a couple weeks ago, or these. But anyway, that type of thing, that type of trauma can prevent us from having a true belief, and we will be settled in the false beliefs, which I discussed in the last show that is one reason it's so hard to come together and create a beautiful companionship, is because of our false beliefs from past traumatic experiences. And so it's really hard to let go of the past and implement a new future and way of thinking when you've got all of this subconscious beliefs, all of these subconscious beliefs just stored inside of you in your emotional backpack. So when you're in a relationship, even if it's dysfunctional, toxic, unhealthy, there can be a feeling of safety. And a lot of that stems from, again, it feels familiar. Some of us as childhood, from our childhood, I can talk today, I really can. Some of us from childhood have this belief system instilled in us that love is ugly, love is toxic, love is chaotic. So when you get into a relationship, when you're an adult, you are either going to be attracted to the toxicity because it feels familiar, it feels like love, or you're going to be bored in healthy, or both, right? I guess it would be both. And so in order to rewire your thinking and your belief patterns, you have to be aware of what's going on and where it stems from. I suggest therapy, or if you're in this area, because I've done a lot of therapy and I've needed it. I have absolutely worked a ton on myself, but I can honestly tell you, as much as I love helping all of you with my words, with my actions, with my past and my journey, I didn't get here just by reading books or listening to podcasts. I got here by doing the inner work, and the inner work hurts like a bitch. And I have no other way to say it. If you're in therapy and it doesn't hurt, dig deeper. That's where the true healing is in the pain. Pain is growth. It's so worth it, but very painful. So back to relationships. It creates this feeling of safety, even if it's toxic. And this is part of codependency. Someone's name and number, just someone there feeling that void, feels healthy and safe. So before you have a true belief system, and before you are actually in love with this person, this is what you're going to run into. This person is your world. You exist because you're in a relationship and you have a partner. Flat out. That's it. It doesn't matter what type of a relationship it is. It doesn't matter if it's toxic. It does not matter if there's just no healthy boundaries and there's no health to it at all. This is the reason that people stay in abusive situations and dangerous situations right here, because they have not done the work, and all they know is it doesn't matter who's loving me as long as I feel loved. It doesn't matter if it's real unconditional love, as long as I belong to someone, I feel alive. It's a really sad place to be in, honestly, and I have been there. There's no judging here. So for a lot of people in this situation, in this mindset, being alone is so scary. The fear of being alone and losing their safety net is just painful. So they will settle. Now, we've all heard settling for the red flags, you know. You are now alone and your body doesn't know what to do. So here's the thing. When you go through a breakup or divorce, you know, you're thinking, you know, okay, I've gone through a divorce, a breakup. This is sad. But your body doesn't understand. Your gut doesn't understand. Your brain only gets a little bit. And so all your body knows is this is chaotic, this hurts, this sucks, and I don't like it. I don't like being alone. I don't like sitting alone with my thoughts. I don't like living in this fear of waking up alone in the morning. I'm telling you one thing, once you get past this and you're no longer codependent and you've done your work and you wake up in the morning and you're like, nice, I got the whole bed to myself. It is the most invigorating feeling. It is like, I can't explain it. Those of you that have done it, you know. When you break through codependency and you do your work and you know your value and you are ready to set clear boundaries and respect your boundaries as well as make others respect your boundaries, you have this freedom about you that is just remarkable. It is like, my mom has said in the past that I am happier alone, or have been happier alone in the past than in relationship. I can now say I'm just as happy alone as I am in my relationship. He doesn't define my happiness. He is there for me when I have my bad days, but he's not going to make me have a bad day. You know, if we get in an argument, we're not, oh, well, doom and gloom, we're done. We work through it. And I've learned, like I was saying in the last episode, to self-regulate. And the more I've done that, the less that my nervous system goes crazy when conflict arises. So your body just knows that it doesn't feel good right now. There's dysregulation, uncertainty, panic. It's like your body's dying because you're like, okay, I'm in so much pain, so much trauma. I don't know where I'm going to go. I'm so scared. I don't know what my future holds. And so it's very traumatic. There's no sugarcoating this shit. If you feel this way, it's okay. Like, you have to normalize this feeling of dysregulation and what your body feels. And I'm telling you, I understand that when you're in this and you're just in that depressive state and you don't want to leave the house, the bed, been there, done that. I spent a month in this and I would work, but then it was go back to bed. I didn't eat. I didn't have a social life. It was one day my best friend was like, get your ass out of bed or I'm coming to get you out of bed. Because it was get up, go to work, cry, 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 go to bed. Like, that was it. I sat at work and just listened to podcasts and listened to YouTube and tuned out the world. And then I would go home and cry. I was so heartbroken and just discouraged. And so my body, and I had found out, I've found out a couple times, I'm trying to be really careful how I'm saying things. So that's why I'm stumbling over my words. Because one, I don't want to bash on anyone. I don't share my stories to demonize anyone from my past. I don't want to expose them at all. So I'm trying to be careful how I'm saying this, but I was exposed to a really bad situation and not treated very well, and had been cheated on multiple times, like I stated many times in the past. And so it was my breaking point. It was, you've fallen down enough, girlfriend. It's time to pick yourself up and do some work. So that was my turning point. And I feel like everyone hits a rock bottom to where you're like, okay, I've had enough. I'm ready to do some work on myself. And again, it's painful, but it's so worth it. So make sure you normalize it. You're not broken. You're okay. You are human. You're feeling the feels, and feeling the feels is so okay and normal. But you have to understand that your body doesn't understand physical and emotional trauma. It's all the same. And so you're going to be in that fight or flight mode. You're going to feel dysregulated. You're going to be physically ill because your mind emotionally is just like, nope, can't handle it. I'm shutting down. This isn't okay. And so your body is now naked, cold, and wants to live again. So what does living again before you do your work mean? Jumping right back into a toxic relationship. But if you can get past all of this, and one way that you get past this that I've discovered, and I've had a therapist help me with this, is one, it's important to think, if those thoughts and emotions come up, like I've been discovering today, of, oh, that one moment in life, that was so scary, and you feel the urge to cry, cry. And if you're in a situation, you start to feel that panic inside, I know when I'm triggered. I will shake, my nervous system goes insane, I get sick stomach, like it is just like the worst feeling in my gut. And I have to just sit with it and breathe. I let it in. I express myself. I tell someone, or I journal, I write it down, and I let my body feel the emotion. I just sit with it. Like I said, I get shaky. I get flush. I feel fevered, and I'm just like, okay, this feels way too familiar from the past. I'm going to sit with this for a moment. I'm going to let it in. I'm going to breathe. Sometimes I'll go work out. That helps. And just let it happen instead of push and create resistance. And then once you do, you have to separate, okay, what am I feeling because of the past? And what am I observing from the present that is truth? I know a woman's intuition is right on, but sometimes it's just our past experiences creeping in again and us being afraid, which again is your intuition saying, okay, this is a pattern. This has happened in the past, and remember what happened in the past. And so we panic and we go in that fight or flight mode. And so it's important that you breathe and sit through it. And this is the part that's hard. But on the other side of this emotional riptide is where the answers are. As you move through this, your lenses will get clearer And you will know that you're on your healing journey. Because once you work through this, and I just went through this a couple months ago with my guy, something familiar came up. It was nothing he did. And we were on FaceTime, and I just looked at him and I'm like, and he was being honest with me and giving me some information that was very uncomfortable for me. Nothing he had done, and I remember telling him to look at me, to watch me. And he was like, "You're shaking." And I said, "Yes, this is what happens when this scenario comes about." And I remember just sitting there talking to him, and he's like, "You are handling this 10 times better than I thought you would. And I'm sorry. I know this is a past experience creeping in, and I'm sorry that you've experienced this, but I promise you I'm not going to hurt you. You're safe with me. This won't be an experience that you have to go through again. I'm here." And in turn, I just asked him to just hold space for me. This is something that I have dealt with many times in my past. The feeling was very familiar with, this feels uncomfortable. I feel dysregulated. And the more that I have done this and just let it in, and just experienced all of the feels, all of the fight or flight emotions, the sick gut feeling, the urge to run. If any of you have been in the dating world, if you've ever been an avoidant, you understand this. Once you get into a familiar situation where you feel like, okay, I did this in the past, I've been through this before, this feels way too familiar, and I got hurt. Once you can work through all of that, and you can just let it come up instead of suppress it. I'm telling you, suppressing it brings on an amazing comic. I am not near as funny as I used to be, but when I was living in the shit all the time, oh my God, I had jokes. I was so funny. I would walk into work every day and I would make everyone laugh, and I was hilarious. But what was I doing? I was masking all of the pain. And that's all I was doing. Was I really happy? Hell no. Not at all. But I was making others happy, and that brought me joy. And that's all I knew. I still like to do that, but more I like to help people. But anyway, the more that I sit with this and I experience these experiences, the more gratitude I have for all of the past, by the way, for all of the traumatic experiences. You guys watching me on YouTube, you're going to see a lot of my mess ups. I edit all of this out of the podcast, but on YouTube, I just leave it. And so there's a lot where it's like bloopers. No, but once you get through this and you learn to do the exercise of just sitting with this and working through it and letting your nervous system just kind of do its thing until you calm yourself down, you will find that it happens a lot less, and you have shorter episodes, and you don't feel near as triggered and upset over it. It's more of like, okay, come on, let's do this. And you feel healed after. Like, you feel so much better after you go through these experiences and just let them come up. Let the pain come up. Let the fear come up. And sit with it. And then you will find, I'm telling you, you will find that the situation is not near as big, bad, and ugly as your mind wants you to believe. Not going to say that a lot of the time it's not our intuition, but I feel like intuition lasts longer. You can't breathe through it and get through it. And I will tell you that I had a really bad feeling before this news. So it was like my intuition and my nervous system was like, I knew, there's you're going to get some news that you're not going to like. Nothing that affected my life at all, just some news, but it was like I knew. But when he told me, it was like this, just chaotic internal battle, and it was miserable. And that's just one example, just the most recent, but I know there have been a lot of times in my past that, I always knew when someone was cheating on me. And talking to other women, whatever, I always knew, because I was cheated on in my 15-year marriage, and he came out and told me about it. And so I sat there and thought about it, and I was like, well, okay, let's think about this. This day, my nervous system was going crazy. He was cheating on me. This evening, when he didn't come home, my nervous system was going crazy. He was cheating on me. So I was able to put the pieces together and realize my intuition, my gut was telling me something's not right. But instead of listening to that, I chalked it up to, of course, women are crazy, blah, blah, blah. You're just being irrational and jealous. Make sure you listen and pay attention, but don't jump to conclusions. Sit with it. And if it continues and you can't get it to go away, really pay attention to your surroundings and what's going on. But I don't want you to jump to conclusions and say, oh my gosh, my nervous system is going crazy. It must be a repetitive pattern. It doesn't always mean that. Sometimes it just means it feels familiar and it's time for you to do some work. Again, I highly encourage you to seek out therapy if you find yourself in these situations. I promise you, I've had the best therapists in the last 7 years, and coaches. My coach is amazing, David. He helps me out a lot. And I honestly couldn't make it without him. And my therapist helping me regulate my nervous system when it comes about, and helping me dig up all of the trauma and get rid of a lot of the baggage, right? So seek out therapy, sit with the nervous system, and learn to regulate yourself. Breathe through it, meditate, exercise, go for your drives, whatever it is to really regulate. Still to this day, sometimes when I'm feeling a little dysregulated in my relationship, not very often, but occasionally, when little things happen that hurt my feelings or disrupt our day-to-day where we're doing really good, I need to take a step back, and I just tell him I need to go on my drive. And he's like, okay. And we say our, kind words, I love you, and everything's fine. And we take a moment. And that is so important to me because it gives me that time alone with my thoughts and to really decipher, am I in the anger and fear right now? Is this my intuition? Is this just my nervous system going whack because it feels so familiar? It can feel normal too, don't get me wrong. It can. Or am I in fight or flight? And so it gives me time to really sit with it, to breathe through it, to really think about, okay, is it worth, a lot of the times I'm thinking, is this worth an argument? Just because I feel a little off about this. And that's for you to decide. Honestly, it's for you to decide. But again, I encourage you to get into the truth belief system. Really implement that into your body. These are the truths. This is not a false belief. And once you get through that, you will no longer be settling for the chaotic, the toxic. You will be excited for the healthy side, which is honesty and trust, and it won't feel boring. And those of you that are in this, that are attracted, why am I always attracting the same people that are all toxic? Probably because it feels normal to you and it feels healthy when you first meet them. You get all excited because your nervous system is like, yes, I am relating all this toxicity with love. And instead, it's the other way around. So when you get with someone healthy and it has the potential to be a healthy relationship and they're treating you fine or great, whatever, then it feels uncomfortable and you're not attracted to them anymore. And so now I have flipped that within. And when the toxicity arises, which isn't often, I shouldn't even say toxic because we don't even have that, but when the negative feelings arise, when we do have a little bit of confrontation, that's what feels icky now. It's not the boring. I love our quote unquote boring life. I love our healthy. I'm attracted to him more when it's healthy. It's when it gets a little dark and hard that I'm now like, okay, I don't like this. I need to run. My internal battle wants to run and I have to regulate. So I have flipped it for myself. And I really, really, really want so many of you to get there. I read a lot of posts about relationships, comments on social media, where I can't tell you countless times people are saying, but I attract the same person over and over and over, and I don't understand why. And then I end up getting hurt, and then I'm alone. And why don't I like to be alone? This is why. This is exactly why. It's your belief system. Also, back to last week's episodes, you need to create that relationship with self. You need to give yourself the love, respect, and boundaries that you would expect others to follow. Why was it so hard for me to say that? Holy cow. You need to give yourself the same respect that you expect from others. And until you learn to do that, you're not going to get it. It's the law of attraction. It's love yourself first so you can appreciate those that love you and really kind of demand it. No one is worth losing if they can't respect you and treat you right? You also have to be that partner. Make sure you're ready to be that partner and give someone the love and respect they deserve and that you deserve and you would like. Leaving you with that, I love you all. Thanks again. Have a fabulous day. Bye.